So, Derek, this is now, we are almost coming to the end of the show, but my favorite part is here. So, I want to get to know my guests a little bit more intimately and then get you to open up a little bit. So obviously, you've built your business before selling product, but really, in order to sell that product, you invented it, and now you've got this platform. So what I want to know is, growing up as a kid, this creating products and inventing things and looking at the world in a different way. Looking back at your childhood and everything you went through, when was the first time that you now can tell that this is when my entrepreneurial creative journey started?
Yeah, like I think like unlike a lot of people, it wasn't like something that I think came about as a kid. Like I have a like my dad is like a very, very good like carpenter, for example. It's not his trade. He spent his years doing business, but around the house, like he would build our basement and he would build everything. And we had a cottage, and he built the whole thing from the ground up, right? So I was around dad my whole life building stuff, and despite that, I actually really wasn't that interested in it as a kid, you know. But I think like it was always on the table to, consider how you would make something. I got into science and I got into engineering, not because I knew I wanted to make something, but just because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. But going into a career like engineering, you at least can, like, you can't really make a mistake. Like at the end of the day, like there's a good job waiting for you somewhere. The first time I tried, like how I got into the world of like building things and creating things was in around my second year of university. I attended an interview, and the guy asked me a question in the interview, and he said, "So what are you building on the side?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Well, every student I've talked to today is building something for fun. What do you build for fun?" I said, "Well, I don't build anything for fun." And he goes, "Okay, well, I guess this interview's done then." And I walked out and I was like, okay, that hurt, but I meditated on it a little bit, and I go, well, why don't I? Like, why am I not making anything? So from then on, I just started to dedicate free time to making stuff. I'm like, I'm in an engineering program, for God's sakes. Why am I not making stuff for fun? Like, I should not be in this program if I don't like making stuff. And then
What
it
was
was
the
less than a
interview
year.
for? What was the
It was
interview
just for
for?
like an internship, right? It was for an internship
Oh,
with, I don't even remember the company at this point, but it basically just got my brain turning. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not just in university. Felt like I was just following the steps, just
yeah.
listening to the teacher. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Getting my grades, moving on. And then starting to build something was like this moment where it's like, oh no, I'm in control. I'm no longer just listening to what the teacher says. I can do whatever I want. It started with, so I used to do like professional like costume and cosplay design. And I would enter costume contests and win them to fund the money to then make more costumes, then make bigger costumes, and enter bigger contests, and then win more money. And then I would sell the ones that I was tired of. And yeah, that was my first thing that I ever did. And then the next thing after that, I used to take apart like Nintendo 3DS at the time, like the handheld consoles, and wire them to be programmatically controlled by a computer. So the use case at the time was if you wanted to automate the creation of basically you walk back and forth 10,000 times and then a new Pokemon hatches. And that's very tedious. So I automated it. And then after that, I worked at, okay, and I started building like bigger equipment, and I built a bar at the time. And then I went back to school, and my friends and I had a research project. And we said, hey, this is a really cool research project. And I'm like, cool, like let's make it, let's build it. Because I was on the hook of building everything that I touched at this point. And that was Spot My UV. And the rest is history.
This guy awakened the giant.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just didn't know that I liked making stuff. Like I think like for the longest time, like you just do what people, I don't know, it was kind of like for my whole life, I just did what people told me to do. And entrepreneurship and building stuff was just making things that no one told me to do. So I made a whole bunch of stuff that no one wants, but I think I made some stuff that people do like. That is satisfying.
So do you remember that guy's name?
No.
Oh my God, the
I don't.
guy in your life and you don't
He
even
could.
remember.
He could be. He could be. I don't remember a thing. I think
You know,
like
if
right after the interview, I had blacked it out. It was terrible. It was embarrassing. It was like one of the most embarrassing things I've ever experienced.
it was the best thing that happened to you.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but it's if something like that happened to me, I tell you, I would have definitely gone back and found the guy.